Good morning, everyone. So, first of all, this is something I decided to write because I was a spectator on the side. I don't live in Italy. I haven't been living in Italy for a while, but I keep following the ITNOG Telegram group, and there were a lot of discussions there, and people kept complaining, and so I built my own view of the thing. And on the other side, I'm also a very big football fan, so I'm unhappy on that side. I used to be a football referee, so I was part of the whole game. And we all love it, right? We all love football. Yes, we do. Well, actually, one day I should join Freddy at one of the Winterthur matches. Yes. Okay. So this is a story that starts from what people have reverse engineered, being a very small group of very influential people. And one of them was really called out. He's actually the owner of a football team. And when I was telling this story a few days ago to someone, they mentioned, why is it always with Italian rich people who own football teams that something bad happens? And I don't know. I have no idea. But things can easily go wrong, all in the name of football. And that's the part of football that I didn't like. I like the game. I don't like the rest. So I started imagining a conversation that might have happened some time ago, because the problem at the source is, how can we avoid having people watching illegal streaming online, which is something I fully understand. So imagine someone sending a WhatsApp message or Telegram, hey, we have a problem. People are watching our streamed games illegally. They're not paying for the services. We need to do something. So I have an idea. Give me 10 minutes. I asked my IT experts here. We can force the ISPs to block those sites. We can do that. Don't worry. People won't be able to watch those matches anymore. So excellent. Looking forward to recover our losses and create more jobs. Because the idea they had in mind, and we'll see that in a bit, is that it would add 1.7 billion euros to somewhere and 9,000 jobs. So it all started July 2023. I put some screenshots where you can see it was voted by basically unanimously by everyone, both chamber and senate in Italy. So the law went through, and what does it say? ISPs are forced to block fully qualified domain names and IP addresses as told by authorities. There's a keyword here, IP addresses, where the illegal activity is the sole activity. And you see there's an asterisk because, well, things will change later. The blocks need to happen in 30 minutes. Sorry? Well, they need to happen in 20 minutes. So who's in charge of defining the blocks? Copyright holders. So the AGCOM, that's the General Agency for Communications, is in charge of was put in charge of providing a platform to do this. So what is the platform? The platform was actually written by, I put here a branch of, it's a legal counseling organization, it's a lawyer's office, which had a small branch, and they, with I think 5 employees, I was told, and they built this website, this system, and then they donated in front of a lawyer to AGCOM, to the government, basically. It was initially built to support 18,000 domain names. And why, would you ask? Well, it was put in it was basically a number they came up with. Random. We don't know where it came from. ISPs requested that. Okay. And ISPs needed to build then their own solution to query this system, figure out what needed to be blocked in that. The problem was the specifications kept changing. So there were lots of discussions about, hey, which version of the specifications do you have? Or people would wake up in the morning saying, hey, I saw there's a different response to this API request. What do you guys see? There was a testing platform where apparently not all the ISPs got access to. So some of them had to go directly in production with it. So it was what it was. But this platform is a ticketing system. And copyright holders have access to create these tickets. They can contain addresses and or domain names. ISPs query the system, they build their blocks, blah, 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 and don't forget, this needs to be done in 30 minutes. So you have this pressure all the time. But the point was, can you remove these blocks? Well, not really. So the initial setup said, there's a block that gets put in. If no one complains in 5 days, done. That address stays on the list. We cannot remove it. We're sorry. So you can imagine easily what this could lead to. You have IP addresses that will never be able to be used again anymore to provide service to Italian people. There are some exceptions. In some cases, some of the blocks were removed at one point, but very few exceptions. So we had some bumps in the road because, of course, you can imagine with such a powerful system that's in the hands of third parties, it wasn't even a month after it was put in place that, well, Cloudflare made it into the list, just an IP address, and a few thousand websites, well, basically were blocked in the whole of the country. And the response from the agency in charge of the platform was like, yeah, but this is minor, don't worry, it's okay. It's fine, don't worry, it's all okay. Then ZenLayer made it into the list. In a few months, that grew to 17,000 entries. So it was close to, remember, the limit of 18,000. And here we are. So the problem is, how can you complain about this list? Hey, you can't. Well, maybe. And yes. So people complained because, of course, imagine you were using Cloudflare as the CDN for your website, and suddenly the most frequent used example is the Piadine shop in Italy, where it's like a very simple customer with a very simple website, which doesn't care really who the provider is, but they want their website to be online, and suddenly the website is not online anymore. And how can you complain? There isn't really a procedure to do that. So people started sending, there's a special system in Italy that's the certified electronic email, started sending them, but as far as people know, they never got a reply. So that it is, and there is no formal way to do that. You can probably try going to court, but we all know that the small shop owner whose website isn't reachable anymore from the whole country will not take probably someone to court because they don't even know who to take to court. So next step is they'll move to another ISP probably. Is the list public? Can we actually look at the list and see? No, you can't. There were people who tried supplying Freedom of Information Act requests, and the response was denied. Like, no, we can't show it to you. We can't give you the list because of security matters. So, nope, we can't. So it's there. ISPs can see it, but they also have a mandate not to provide it further. Now, on the same thing, the source code is not available for the main platform, even though it's supposedly public domain. At one point, one leaked on GitHub, well, there was a GitHub repository where they claimed it was that source code, but there's no full certainty that it's that one, because no one has ever seen that. It was. Well, there's no full certainty. We know it Probably is, most likely is. So the next step was, okay, as you can guys imagine, this wasn't successful. So people were still watching illegal streaming, and actually the traffic was even going up. So, you know, we promised 9,400 new jobs. It's not happening. 1.7 billion euros, not happening. So we can be more aggressive. I have a great proposal coming up, and excellent was the response here. So what was the new proposal? It was a new law and regulation, October 2024. The changes, now IP addresses need to be used predominantly for illegal purposes. So it doesn't have to be the sole activity anymore. If they're used predominantly for something illegal, then they can make it into the list. There is an official concept for the unblocking now, which was not present previously. Now here are the two most important things though. VPN and DNS providers are also now subject to applying filtering. And it doesn't matter if you're a foreign entity. If you're a foreign entity, you have to nominate a legal person in Italy they can talk to apply this filtering. And I can't imagine, so I told you I don't live in Italy, I live abroad. I am not going to put my name on a list there too, so whatever. So, but here's the most important one to pay attention to. If an ISP has any suspicion of any illegal activity related to this coming from one of their customers, they have to go to the police or they risk 1 year in jail. And that's it. So, but then this led to October 19th. I don't know if you can read it up there. Can you read the URL on top? So, on October 19th, one of the copyright holders decided that Google Drive was bad. And so it was put into the list of domain names that were blocked in the country. So at 7 p.m. around 7 p.m. on a Saturday, that was the lucky part, on a Saturday, someone put Google Drive as a bad actor into this list. And of course, no one in Italy, because remember the concept that these blocks have to happen in half an hour, so by 7:30 in that evening, no one was able to access Google Drive, well, without a VPN. The speculation is that there was a list somewhere published on Google Drive with the list of streaming websites you could use to watch the game that was going to happen soon after that. The block was removed actually after midnight, but there are reports. So there's Giorgio Bonfiglio who made some RIPE Atlas measurements, and I'll get back to RIPE Atlas in a moment, to verify which ISPs were still blocking, and some of them removed the blocks like 40 hours later. So, this, of course, led to plenty of discussions, because people realized, wait a minute, what do we have here? We have this system that allows someone we don't know, because it, of course, blocking Google Drive made it into the main newspapers in Italy. And people realized we have something wrong and we need to fix it, of course. On the other hand, from the government, the words we all heard everything's fine. As you could see, the system works because it blocked stuff. No worries, yeah, it blocked. Wrong now. So what is the situation now? There's a Imperva and Capsula who have some IP addresses on the lists, and I didn't put it here, but there's a list of Italian banks who actually make use of that. The list now is still about 17,000 entries long, but the total, counting even the unblocked ones, is 25,000. And 6,000 IP addresses are on the list out of 8,000 total. Now, there's a tiny little detail. What have I not mentioned so far? There's no IPv6 that has been blocked. There's no IPv6 has been blocked. So, well, this might be a reason to implement IPv6 for Italian ISPs. There were other small bumps in the road. I was told after I So Marco told me that actually it's a couple of ISPs in Italy. So imagine you have to show a block page that has a specific series of sentences told by the government, but turns out that in a way the blocked page, like the URL of this or the IP address of this block page, also made it into the blocking list. And we called it inception blocking, because the website is blocked and the blocking page is blocked, whatever. There was a big question, like, how did no one figure out that Google Drive, like a service used by a large number of people in the country, made it into that list? It means that someone had no idea what they were doing, and we don't know who these were. And on top of that, we would need to have a list of critical infrastructure that's not going to make it into this list ever. And one of the commissary from Agicom said, well, yes, we do have, we keep calling it a whitelist because, Italians, and we have a whitelist, but Google never participated in any meeting with us, so we didn't add them to the whitelist because they didn't communicate with us. So whatever. But now they're just trying to force them to join a working group, and actually there are rumors that the government is trying to sue them. And we're all holding our popcorns for that. What is the shiny future ahead, though? There is apparently a new platform in the works, because this one works so well that we need a new one. And this is something that I had not considered initially. I told you that there was a person that was doing measurements to figure out when a resource would be unblocked. But do you remember that I told you that in the new law, there is a reference that says, there's a part that says that if you ISP see someone that's doing something potentially illegal, you have to report them, or you can go to jail. Now, if I host a RIPE Atlas probe and someone is running tests to see if a resource is blocked, potentially my ISP could be reporting me. So people have started turning off their RIPE Atlas probes, saying, well, I don't want to have that in my house. So that's a side effect I had not considered myself. And now operators are, of course, left with more questions. So this is the story. I needed a little bit of help from a bunch of people because I don't have insights into being an ISP in Italy. So here's the list of people that helped. It doesn't include Marco because he didn't want to be included, but thank you, Marco, as well. And this is it.